This is TWiT.
Starliner at last? Question mark. Wow.
Still on track is the news
On
there.
Which track though? No, I beat up on Starliner. It's not fair, but it's really late.
Yeah.
I would like to see him fly.
Yeah, and so the latest news, which came out over the last week, is that NASA and Boeing have basically put out a status report to say that Boeing is still shooting for mid-April. That's kind of the end of the status report. Is what this update was. But as our listeners might recall, Starliner's first crewed flight has been delayed for years after an initial failed uncrewed test flight, and then a second successful test flight several years later that was then followed by the discovery of lots of other issues in both the parachute system as well as apparently an entire interior lined with flammable tape that they had to then go in and remove.
On the wiring, correct?
Yeah, on the wiring, yeah.
Yeah.
And so they've been hard at work to fix all that. NASA actually said, and I quote, that teams have made significant progress in resolving technical issues identified during the agency's flight certification process. And those are the issues, the tape around the electrical wiring or along the interior, the connectors. Oh, I don't remember the name of them offhand now, but some of the vital connectors in the parachute lines that link it to the capsule itself. They weren't rated to hold the capsule up with like one parachute down. That was like a key safety need that they needed to do. So they've got all that fixed. In fact, since we last spoke about this, they've had some successful parachute tests with the new and final design, which is really encouraging. They were perfect tests. Nothing went wrong at all, which is always great to see. And so the crew capsule is getting ready to kind of get all of that work closed out, and they're still looking for like a mid-April launch, which is nice because you're not seeing the last few updates we've had. That launch date was like slipping until at the last one it slipped to April. So now they're still sticking to that, which is good. And so we've got about 3 more months, Rod, I think, to see how close they're going to get. And hopefully before this summer, astronauts will fly. And, Sonny Williams has been waiting for that for quite some time, the astronaut.
So as a guy who's written press releases for a living before, when people say significant progress, it always worries me because that could be like me saying, we've made significant progress in improving the quality of our jokes and our podcast. But I think with all eyes on Boeing for this, at least on the space side, now they're probably working very hard to get these problems resolved. Because a couple of them, I mean, problems with parachute shrouds. SpaceX had the same thing with the Dragon, but it wasn't the same type of problem. As I understood it. It wasn't that the materials weren't rated properly. It's that they were behaving in a way that they didn't foresee. If you're talking about flammable tape or underrated parachute shrouds, that's kind of a big QC issue for the engineering up front. But the parachute issue was about these components called soft links, which is like where the lines are connected between the parachute and the capsule itself. And it just turned out that those lines that they had used on the last flight were not rated for the weight load that they needed them to be. So they had to redesign that. They've done that. In fact, the last parachute test was reported earlier this month as being a success. And on the tape side, they removed like 4,300 feet of this tape inside the capsule, 17 pounds in all. And tape's not a heavy thing. That's not a lot of tape to remove from the spacecraft and replace with something new. So they really want to make this go correctly. And NASA astronauts Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams, they've been waiting for years for this. This 10-day, I think it's a 10-day flight that they're going to do for this first flight, and we'll see how that goes. Hey, if you enjoyed this clip, be sure to check out This Week in Space. You can find us on your favorite podcast app or see the link in the description below. See you there.